Let's see if we can't get these cylinder heads done. Welcome back, everybody. So where we left off the last time was we got the pistons mounted on the connecting rods and the jugs installed, and we temporarily installed the heads and torqued them to just, I believe, 10 foot-pounds as a temporary torque for the heads. I just wanted something to have some pressure on the jugs, so the gasket sealer I used in there could set up real nice. I really thought I'd get back to it a lot quicker than I did, but that's no big deal. Before I turn the cameras on today, I took out the two center cylinder head studs, and as you look at the cylinder head, the head studs on the right side, all three on the right side, and I shortened each stud roughly at least a 1/4 inch, probably closer to 3/8 of an inch, and that was after looking at, well, this is the wrong side, but the angle's the same. Wanted to make sure that the studs clear the intake angle properly there, and I had temporarily installed one of the rocker arm shafts to see what the clearance was going to be like there, and a couple of them needed to be trimmed back, so I just took the liberty of taking all three that sit below the shaft and shortening them just to be sure I don't have any issues later. I also inserted the rocker arm shaft studs that are also turned into the studs that hold the valve covers on. Interesting way I did that is I installed the nuts that hold the rocker arm shafts in place. Then I threaded in the bolt that holds the valve cover on, and that allowed me to turn the bolt that holds the valve cover on to seat the studs all the way down. Then I had to just break free the tension between the valve cover bolt and the rocker arm nut, and that allowed me to get these seated properly. If you have the heads with the O-ring seats, make sure you install the O-rings down at the base of your rocker arm shaft studs, and I think that's all you missed, really. So now I'm going to remove the head just enough so that I can insert the cooling tin and also the pushrod tubes. And then once these items are in place, then I can torque the cylinder head to its final specs of 18 foot-pounds, start to install the rocker arm shafts, figure out the shimming I need for that so that the rocker arms hit just off center on the valve stems. Then we're going to use the pushrod adjustment tool to find the final length of the push rods, cut those down, press in the extra ball ends, and then we can final torque the rocker arm shaft, and then we can set the valve lash, and the heads will be done. Sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. So it takes longer to say than it does to do, probably. That can't be true, but anyways, let's get started. just need a little. Alright, looks like I'm going to need a deep well 15 millimeter, at least for this one, unless I can seat that stud a little deeper, but I don't think I can. It should be all the way down. Don't forget to put your copper gaskets in. Alright, I'm just going to wipe the seals on each of the ends of the pushrod tubes and make sure there's nothing in the bores for the lifters, or I do have a little gasket sealer that leaks down from the jugs into one of these, so I will take a little bit of brake clean and see if I can't wipe that off. Because anything interfering with that fit's obviously going to end in an oil leak, and definitely better to catch it now. Alright, I don't think I can get it much cleaner than that. The same with the bores in the back of the cylinder head here. Just make sure there's nothing No obstructions. All right. And from what I've seen, this is a little bit of a juggling act to keep these 4 tubes in position while you're setting the head in. So far, so good. Not sure if it makes a difference, but there's a seam in these tubes. And as I just make sure I'm seated properly, I'm rotating those seams to the upper side. I don't think there would be an issue with them, but I guess it can't hurt. Now, after I used the cutoff wheel to shorten these studs, I took them over to my belt sander, held them about a 45-degree angle, and just sort of put a gentle chamfer on them that allows the studs to go on a little, or the nuts to go on a little easier. I also did the cutting and the chamfering with the nut on just way up past the thread. So just in case there was any sort of a burr when I backed the nut off, it took care of that problem. So didn't have any of those issues though. Six-inch scale. Comes in handy for so many things other than just measuring. Alright, I'm just going to get them all seated first, then I'm going to go back and double check all the pushrod tubes, make sure nothing's moved on me. All right, that looks good. So let's see. I'll be right back. I gotta grab that deep well 15mm downstairs. I tell you, I get my exercise with all my tools a couple hundred yards away. So got it though. So let's see. My old torque wrench seems to have been a little questionable lately, so I went and got one I use in my machine shop. So this is definitely newer. Actually, it's only a few months old, so calibration should still be awesome on it. All right. All right, we're going to start with 10 pounds and go with a relatively informal sequence for the preliminary. Just getting tension. Very, very subtle though. On the lower torque settings, you don't get the big click, so I gotta pay close attention to this. Can just barely feel it. Okay, everything's at 10, so let's bump it up to 18. And now we'll go with the proper torque sequence. Even with just those few pounds, now you can definitely hear it. And I always do my torque twice just to be 1000% sure. There we go. Okay, so now the next step is to get my adjusting tool, or my measuring tool for the push rods. There we go. And I could probably leave the label on it. Okay, I'll get rid of that. Okay. Just a quick wipe. Make sure there's nothing on it to get down into the engine. All right. Actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I need to figure out my shims for my rocker arms first. Alright, and watching the Aerovee video, I believe they start with 2 shims, so that sounds like a good idea to me. Now they just say 2, but they don't say, well, you need 2 anyways. I'm assuming they mean 2 per side, so that's where I'm going to start. We can always take them out. Okay. Oop. Wrong side. Kind of need to be an octopus to hold on to this thing. Okay, I've gotten as far as I can for today. It's a bit disappointing. I wasted a lot of time trying to reconfigure this rocker arm shaft with the shims to get it where the arms would rotate but not really slide with a lot of side-to-side motion, and I really couldn't get it any closer than this, and it's I'm not happy with it. I don't know if I'm going to try and find slightly thinner washer shims or not. I'm going to get on the Sonex forum, the Aerovee section, and find out what kind of tolerances are acceptable here. But the heads are on, they're torqued properly, the pushrod tubes are in, the cooling tins are on, and the rocker arm shafts are properly shimmed to the right heights. I just can't move on to do anything else really at this point until I know I'm within specs on these. So a little bit of a disappointing day. Sure, it was a bit of a disappointing video, but good news is the holidays are over, so I should be able to spend more time on the Sonex project again. So thanks for watching, and remember to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, the like button, all that good stuff, and share these videos with your friends. Thanks for watching.